You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com.
Good God, I hate technology when it doesn't work. Between last time we had a workshop, and this time, Meta, parent company for Facebook, decided to make some changes because they can. And our streaming platform that we are able to broadcast out to multiple channels is, before all this, we were able to just add various Facebook groups, and it would the video would show up right there. Right? So the change was, we're not going to let you stream into a group anymore. Right? So now there's 4 different possibilities or workarounds while they're working to try to make this work. And one was, just stream it, just share it in to the group from a public source, which our School of Bookkeeping page allows us to do that. During the little countdown video, I was like, okay, I'll just do that while the video's playing, and that'll be great and everything like that. There's like a 30-second delay. So by the time it went live, I'm sitting here, we're on.
No.
So maybe I need to count probably 2 minutes.
That's really confusing. Question, am I frozen or am I not?
I see you just fine. Are you?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. In one little.
You are in Michigan. Are you cold?
But then on the little screen, I'm not frozen. So I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. So if anybody's watching and they're able to see, give us a heads up. Is Rachel frozen? Okay. So I seem to have been able to do that while we were chit-chatting there, to put it in the ABO Facebook group. But we'll see what we can do next time. Hopefully, what I liked about this platform that we were using is that it was a set it, forget it type of thing. And I just had to click the go live button and it was everywhere. But leave it up to Mr. Zuckerberg to decide to make changes. This is all reminiscence. I'm having PTSD with our Google partnership that Intuit had back in 2007. They just constantly were changing things because they could. You know how hard it is to make training material? Thank you, Adrian. She is live. Excellent. You know how hard it is to make training material when screenshots of something to teach tech support agents?
I know.
The screenshot changes the next day.
It's really hard. Although, Dan, have you tried Scribe?
Scribe how?
Yeah, Scribe how?
Yeah. I've heard about that, but I've not looked into it yet.
It's really cool. I'll show you, and then you can see it's really cool. It's basically, it'll create dots. Click here, and actually, really, what you're doing is it'll follow your clicks. If, for instance, I want to create a tutorial for somebody, I'll go to the website that I want. It'll screenshot the website, and it'll create a little dot on every click I do. So it'll say, click here, and then there, and it'll follow what I'm doing. So then then I can send it to them, and then they can know I go into this thing, and then I click on there, and then I open up that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very helpful to show people how to do things as opposed to just typing them out.
Yes, exactly. And one thing I'm thinking of and that I have done is adding an accountant user in QuickBooks for a new client or something like that. You go to the gear, and then you go here, and then you go there. Yeah, it's nice.
And then they go, oh, it's changed, because that's what Intuit does as well.
Side, and they're like, wait a minute, it doesn't say bank anymore. It says transaction.
Yeah, exactly. Just enough to keep you on your toes.
Yay, Intuit. And I think that's what we're talking about today. It's new.
Yeah. Our main topic is to show the QuickBooks Online mobile app and the expense side of things. But while we were away, Intuit made an announcement. So thanks again for now they're turning into the large company that can do whatever changes they feel like doing, just like they're the Facebook of accounting.
Although I don't know if it's now they're doing that. I think they've been doing that.
Yeah. It's definitely, this is not a brand new behavior. So what we're talking about first, so we just wanted to get it out of the way because we're still trying to digest what this means for the accounting community in general. And let me go ahead and share my
Especially for
screen.
pro advisors specifically.
Yes, it has to do with QuickBooks Live, which is a trigger word, I think, for a lot of people in the accounting industry. And you actually have an interesting because one of your employees does work for QuickBooks Live. Right?
Yeah, and our firm specializes in stuff that QuickBooks Live doesn't do. So never affects me, actually. QuickBooks Live doesn't bother me, but we'll get into this and then yeah.
So what they've announced on Monday, what it is currently being tested is QuickBooks Live assisted bookkeeping service. QuickBooks Live is, as it's gone through its iterations, I likened it to the Uberization of accounting, right? Sometimes people need some extra work to do and they don't have the clientele or the experience to do that. So they can become QuickBooks Live employees and work for Intuit, and Intuit will offer these services and they will get paired up with clients. And do you know if they actually stick with the specific accounts or do they have a bucket of accounts that they work with, or could it be the new clients every day? Do you know?
I am not sure. I know somebody that did work for QuickBooks Live for quite some time, and she was really sharp. And she actually I think she really liked her team that she was on, and she really liked her supervisor. And she had a really positive experience with it. I feel like they stuck with the same clients. And then I also know some of my clients have also come from QuickBooks Live,
Right.
not had a good experience. I feel like remembering what they've said, I feel like they had the same, like month to month. I think they had the same bookkeeper. I feel like.
Okay. I just got a message on the streaming platform that something went wrong and it's wanting me to refresh, which I don't think I want to do because then that might leave you alone. Uh, but what I was trying to do was I was trying to post the article that I'm sharing here into the comments, and
Yeah,
it
you
looks like it went
posted it.
through. Yeah, it looks like it went through on Facebook, but it wasn't showing in the chat overlay there. But okay, and sometimes twice.
Yes.
All right. So we want to draw a distinction that QuickBooks Live Full Service and QuickBooks Live Assisted are two different offerings. So these are two different things, and they're starting a testing on QuickBooks Live Assisted. So the natural question is probably on the tip of your tongue is, what do they mean by assisted? Right. And that's what this article that I just shared will walk through. The basic, if I had to summarize a sentence, it is QuickBooks Tech Support given by accounting professionals, right? So for years now, the gripe of especially from the accountant community is when I call or contact QuickBooks, I end up having to teach them what it is that I'm talking about, right?
Right.
So, and
when we as pro advisors, contact them for
gets
help,
you all choked up
we're
there.
the ones that have to tell them is what you're saying.
Yeah, and as an accountant professional who's been working in QuickBooks for 20 years, I would assume that I would know more than someone who's just starting out supporting QuickBooks. There is so much to know about
There really is.
what QuickBooks can do. It takes time to get that familiarity with
Years.
working in QuickBooks. Yes.
Yeah.
And even after years, there's
Yes.
still more to learn. QuickBooks Online subscriptions always included customer care, tech support, whatever it is that Intuit is calling it these days. Back in my day when I was there, it was tech support. And then it started to evolve in different softer words, very Disney-esque, like cast members as opposed to
Yes.
employees. So customer care
Wait,
as
do you
opposed.
mean though, do you mean tech support as in there's something wrong with with I can't log in, or accounting support, meaning what I don't know if this is I don't know what income means. I don't know what statement this goes on. I don't know various accounting questions.
Yeah, so that's a great question, right? Because it was always the policy, right? And it all came down to can versus should, right? What QuickBook can do versus what you as a business should do.
Yeah.
Those are often two different things. And it was all same thing with TurboTax, right? Somebody contacts TurboTax for, hey, where should this number go? I can't tell you that. I can tell you it can go here.
Yeah.
It could go here. It could go here. Talk to your accountant. I did one tax season at Intuit for the Pro Tax,
Right.
Intuit Tax Online, and it was just individual returns. And every day there was somebody who would be like, "Can I give you my return and you tell me if it's right?" I'm like, "No, you do
Yeah.
not want."
They want tax advice rather
Yeah.
than where do I go in the software? Yeah.
So there's always been that line of when if you're doing it this way, I would frame it like the other businesses that I've talked to do it this way. But
Yes.
I'm going to refer you to confer. I'm deferring to your accountant on where it should go, and I'll tell you what it can do. It could go here, it could go here, and you're allowed
Yeah.
to do. QuickBooks isn't going to stop you, nor is it going to warn you that you're doing
Right.
it wrong. It's going to just allow you, right?
Right.
And this assisted, as they're building it as a do it with me experience, they're very clear on what they won't do,
Yeah.
right? Won't do is they won't get into your books. They won't do, where is it? Where did they, I saw it here a second ago.
Yeah, that looks like a what
Um,
they will do. Is there an area that it says what they want?
it is all about this. It is teaching the business the best practices
That's yeah.
across
So it's a
topics.
hold my hand. So hold my hand while I'm doing this because I don't know QuickBooks. And so
Mhm.
I need
So here's the,
somebody to do
yeah.
it with me and
So
help me as I'm going along the software.
here's what's not included. They don't edit, add, or make changes to transactions inside or outside QuickBooks. They
Okay.
don't perform any bookkeeping tasks. They don't
Mhm.
provide consulting, budgeting, or advisory services. They don't provide tax advice or tax preparation services. They don't prepare, compile, review, or audit. They won't prepare 1099s or provide payroll services. So
So
as
really
I was
the
reading,
first
yeah,
one, they won't help with any kind of cleanup or anything that's wrong. They won't help you.
right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they won't do. And then of course it asks about what do they do? So they answer specific questions related to the customer's books and their business, but with falling short of providing any consulting business, right? So
Right.
they can answer the questions. They got customer would need to know what questions to ask, right?
Right.
Why is it this way? They'll basically they're a QuickBooks interpreter, right? Like, why is it this way? QuickBooks says it's this way. So as I was reading through all of this, I was like, this was me, right? This is what I did when I worked there.
Yeah.
Is after 18 years of working with the software, I could speak QuickBooks, right?
So does
Um,
that mean that you were in tech support, you were subject to those same limitations? Like
right.
you can't do their bookkeeping, but if they want to know, where do I go to pull a transaction by vendor report? You point
Yeah,
them in that right direction.
exactly. So then the question is, why is this not general quick support, regular customer care? And so this is advanced.
Yes.
What this seems to be boiling down to, this is advanced tech support, which is going to be handled by someone in the accounting profession, right?
You know what
So
it
all
feels
of
like
the,
to me? It feels more suited for, I'm a business owner. I just signed up for QuickBooks. I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know where to look in QuickBooks for all these
Yep.
things. So I'm going to reach out to assisted
Right.
bookkeeping.
Somebody who works with in QuickBooks
Yeah.
for other clientele to be able to tell you, oh, you just go over here and do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And
Because
that's really important to be pointed in the right direction. And because it's
right.
not intuitive. And if you don't know anything about accounting, if you don't know double entry
Of course,
books,
it changes too.
yeah, if you
And
don't
it
know.
changes like, oh, wait a minute. Where'd the bank feed go? It used to be
Yeah.
called banking, now it's called
Yeah.
transactions. Well, somebody who's in it every day would be able to recognize that and answer those questions pretty quickly rather than them texting you as their accountant or bookkeeper. And then I got an in, I've got to interrupt my day to answer their question. Right.
Yeah, and
So,
then also, I'm sure you're probably the same, Dan, in that a lot of your clients, they do front load, not all, some of the things,
mhm,
meaning they add bills, they'll add invoices, and they'll add things like that. They don't necessarily know how to do the heavy lifting or even apply something out of the bank feed sometimes. And that's
yeah,
really where I see the bulk of errors come from, is if
yeah,
they're doing the bank feeds, which I actually don't allow. But
mm,
and so that is the source of a lot of error and duplication. And so it's very interesting to know that they won't go and edit and undo and all these things that we'll typically do in a cleanup. But I like the fact that they can have this hand holding for, okay, I need to add a bill. I need to add a purchase order and then receive it. And then it turns into a bill. A lot of these workflow things in QuickBooks Online that you don't necessarily know. I want to add an estimate. Okay, I want to add a PO. Things like that is very helpful to have somebody like this that you can call. Can't be that for them.
right. Yeah, that was something that they were talking about when they were telling us about this on Monday, is that you'll see the customer will see uh, something, and then the accountants will see something else. And so they had them the screenshot side by side. And on the accountant side, it said it's talking about this QuickBooks Live assisted service, and they're calling it a complimentary service.
Mm.
Now, me being a horrible speller, I didn't even know there was a difference between complimentary, as in no charge, and complimentary as like side by side, right?
Oh, like this
There,
complements that. Yeah.
yes, this is a complimentary as in side by side. So they're billing it or marketing it for accountants that, hey, this is an extra service that your clients can sign up for that might help you, right? And
I
and
think
you
they should
are
pick a different word.
yes.
Too confusing.
That was my feedback because I didn't know that they were spelled differently. So when I'm reading it in my head, I'm like, wait, right below you're saying it's $50 a month. How is this
Call it
complimentary?
add-on. Let's call it an
Yeah,
add-on service or an
exactly.
add-on help
Well,
desk or something like that.
there's two words that they are stuck on, right? The complimentary, right? So they're definitely all in on that complimentary word, whereas it is a side by side service or a service that complements your services. And then expert. The experts are all the word expert is all over this QB Live service.
Subjective.
Right. Because and that was the biggest feedback from those that were hearing this for the first time was that, hey, one person's expert is another person's doofus, right? Like just because
Yeah.
they're called an expert. And the same goes for those outside of the Intuit walls, right? Just because I'm a pro advisor or a certified pro advisor doesn't mean I'm any good. It means
Or
I've
A CPA. Yeah, I'm
exactly
looking at this list. Active CPA. Do you know how many errors I have fixed CPAs have made?
right.
Journal entries hitting inventory when you've got active product service items. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like a house that has a pool, right? It just it doesn't mean that the pool's any good. Maybe
Right.
it's got holes in it, but yeah, it's got a pool. And maybe it's a
Or it
kiddie
could be
pool.
filled with sulfuric acid.
Yes. You can do that. You can swim in it once.
Yeah, that would be my main thing is, yes, I can see this list of very knowledgeable people. Doesn't mean they know how to apply things coming in
Right.
from the bank feed to clear out accounts payable. If it's not getting a match, if you're getting a false match, right? Like, it doesn't mean that you can do that correctly.
Now, so as you were pointing out, so who they even say it, who are the experts answering these questions? So the assisted bookkeeping team, they are badged Intuit employees, right? So they're not the Uber driver that just decides to log in for
Right.
while they're waiting at the cell phone lot or whatever at the so it's not a gig person, right? They are, you got to clock in, you got to be somewhere at at a certain time. But their qualifications includes at least one of the following: they're an active CPA, they're an active certified bookkeeper, they have a bachelor's degree in accounting and finance, or 3+ years managing books for a small business. That's, have to have one of those, and all of them are pro advisors, an active QuickBooks Online or Online Advanced certification, and a minimum of 1 year of experience
Oh,
working
that
with
actually
QuickBooks
makes me
Online.
feel better because I was
Yeah.
going to say bachelor's in accounting or finance. Okay, guess what? I'm getting my master's in accounting. And there's no accounting software being used at all whatsoever. It is
Right.
1000% Excel.
My son's mother-in-law is getting her associate's degree in accounting, and I was like, "How many classes did you have in QuickBooks?" One,
Yeah,
and that was an 8-week course, right? Knowing book smart doesn't necessarily mean
right.
QuickBooks.
And knowing the fundamentals of accounting are important, but also really being an expert user at QuickBooks is equally as important because I'm doing a cleanup right now where there's tons of duplications in accounts payable, tons of cogs not right, and things like that, where we really have to go back and fix a lot of incorrect stuff. And it seems like this isn't suited for that. And so what I almost feel like is if there's this very specific list of what we will do and what we will
Right.
not do, and what we will not do really falls into the realm of what you and I do, Dan. So for me, I think this is a pretty positive thing. I would be super stoked if they helped handheld and helped these people apply a bill correctly. Show what QuickBooks Payments does. It'll find the match for you. It'll receive the payment for you. And that kind of stuff, I actually am all for. I'm like,
Yeah.
teach these people the data entry into the system as much as possible. We're still there to do the bookkeeping work for them, but I would love for them to be more skilled in business owners that don't necessarily know what's going on. I would love for that to, oops, sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications. For me, I find that to be a very positive thing. And if it's complimentary or compliment, and that to me is very confusing. I
Yeah.
would feel like all they have to do is spell it wrong, and then they have somebody disputing the charge.
What did you charge me for this complimentary service? But that's only position for an accountant. And as it sits today, only the customer can purchase it. Like accountants can't pay for it
Right.
under their wholesale billing, those types of things. That it's independent of all of that. So there's no discount for
Yeah.
accountants to utilize it. It's direct billed to the customer. I think that the I can't think of the word, but like the trepidation around the accounting community at large, those that have that are very triggered by any new QuickBooks
Right.
Live offering, is that here it is, another option for QuickBooks to take my clients, right?
Yeah.
And that is a valid concern, right? Because they don't have a great track record of leaving your customers alone,
And then
right?
also, who knows what this is going to lead to, as I
Right.
feel that's how a lot of pro advisors
Mm.
feel. But I almost feel like I'll refer them to this because I don't necessarily have the time
Yeah.
to handhold them with, again, don't touch my bank feeds, but with they need to add
Yeah.
invoices or they need to add various things. I don't necessarily have the time for that handholding. So I would, for certain clients, maybe not e-commerce clients, but for other clients that are entering things into, maybe they need help with entering a receipt or something like that. I am inclined to point them towards this. And I also think, guess what else? I also think that it's an opportunity for them, the client, to go to QuickBooks Live Assisted and go, I need
Ooh,
help with this, that, and that. And then QuickBooks says, no, we can't do that for you. And then,
right.
okay, I really have to get my pro advisor or find a pro advisor to help me with this. Because now Intuit has told me they'll only do very simple things. So
Mm.
it's to me, it's like if you, depending on how you want to see it, it could be more validation that no, you need an expert user to help you with that more advanced stuff.
And so that is, and somebody brought up a valid point that like $50 a month for unlimited calls to somebody, a QuickBooks professional that works in,
Mhm.
that has worked in it for more than a year is, is way more economical for a client than I need to schedule some time with Rachel or someone on the team to teach me these same things, right? It is, of course, now truth remains to be seen as to how this is going to play out, right? Because there are those that believe rightfully that any conversation with someone in QuickBooks Live is only an invitation for other services or other options that maybe you as the accounting professional want to be managing, right? So the main thing is that you want to make sure as an accounting professional that you're aware that this service exists for one, so that you're not surprised when the customer says, I just talked to this person over at QuickBooks and they helped me out, or they said you were doing this wrong, or or something like that, where now you're surprised, right? One of the other accountants said that they might use this as an opportunity to change their engagement letters so that any new service or any new offering, whatever it is, it could be a new app or anything like that, needs to be, you need to make me aware as the accounting professional of something that might change your books and your
Right.
financial position.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
always put that in my engagement anyway, because I have to
right.
know if there's new things coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, so this could be something to add to that list of things that could potentially modify the workflows or the way things that are coming in.
Because
Being
they
aware
could
that
tell
it's
them the
there.
wrong way to do something. I'm sorry, but they could.
Yeah. Yeah. You ask an accountant what's the best way to categorize the bank feed, you'll get 10 different answers.
Yeah,
You know?
because there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I can
Right.
guarantee I do things like deposit to a clearing account, and I don't a lot of
Mhm.
people don't do it that way. So, yeah, I totally get that. And I feel like I almost feel like if they're not offering bookkeeping, why are they calling it live assisted bookkeeping? They need to
Yeah.
call it live assisted QuickBooks troubleshooting or
Yeah.
something like that. Why are they
Right. Look,
calling it live assisted bookkeeping? That makes no sense.
yeah, my feedback was instead of calling them expert, call them a QuickBooks coach or,
Yeah.
something like that. But then somebody who is actually a certified coach brought up the point is coaches are designed, if you're a licensed coach, whatever that, whatever that is, business coaching, life coaching, whatever kinds of coaching that you specialize in, you're trained or paid to listen and provide guidance. And
Right.
that's not this at all. This
Thanks.
is, and then people were like, what about QuickBooks Buddy or something
Yeah,
like that? But now you
helper.
see how we're lessening the impact of the word expert, right? Because
Yeah. And then this could potentially really help them in with basic stuff. So, yeah, again, it's one of those things where it's if I let bother me get myself all worked up about it, my state of mind will be nothing but stress. If I
right,
choose to look at it like, well, okay, maybe it'll help them clean some stuff up as far as some of the data getting in there. It's fine. And really makes me realize that it's more important than ever to think of myself as more of an advisor and add in
yeah,
additional things and specialize in inventory and all these things that you and I collaborate on, Dan, of these extra things that are intuitive or easy to understand in QuickBooks. I live in that space and feel more of an app consultant and that kind of stuff. So this kind of stuff doesn't really bother me or affect me. And that keeps myself from feeling less stressed out about it.
Hmm. Yeah. And I could definitely see a variety of.
Jamie. So let's just not tell them about it.
Yeah. When I saw it at first, I was like, oh, this could be a way for accountants to farm out those tech support types of questions if they could like white label it, right? Oh yeah, let's here talk to my QuickBooks specialist, and then they get their question answered or go through this category, but it's not there yet. And the main challenge, I think, is that Intuit has not had a great track record when it comes to partnering with the accounting community as of late. So there's it's a water dripping of, okay, this went away, or this is now gone, or this has changed. And those that aren't in the row to hoe, I don't even know if that's a saying. If you're not in the place, the direction that we're heading, you're gonna get your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
If you're
And I
not
mean,
evolving,
you really
yeah.
have to evolve in understanding how this is working in the cloud and that
Mhm.
QuickBooks syncs with all these things and a little bit more forward thinking, I feel. But there's still a lot of pro advisors that do work in desktop and maybe they go into the clients' offices and things like that. And I think that there's still going to be a need for that kind of thing. But I do think
Mhm.
that for all of these changes that are being made and um, I do think that the people that are willing to embrace more of the tech and more of the automation and more of this stuff, I think are going to be better off in the long run.
Yeah. And last week I wasn't here because I was up in New York City doing a condensed version of the Reframe conference that you went to, the 2-day event.
Yeah.
I got the Cliff Notes version in one day.
From
And,
Hector
and, and
Garcia.
yeah, and some of the nuggets that kind of resonated with me is some of the things that he's talking about was the the evolution of technology, and every time there's some kind of iteration of, okay, this is going to kill accountants, whether
Hmm.
it's spreadsheets or accounting software or cloud accounting or now AI. So that now this is all of these things are coming in, and accountants who have embraced and evolved with it are the ones that rise above it. And something he mentioned was that we should automate workflows, but we always humanize the relationship. Yeah, as long
Yes.
as you embrace that, right? There's things machines can't do, and they can't humanize a relationship and a conversation with a client, right? So being ahead of that, I think that will ultimately be the way that those live and thrive, not just survive this next iteration
Yeah,
of
I totally agree.
technology.
And I'm totally in Hector's camp. Lump me in with that group of folks that's innovate. For me, it's my way of being creative. And I like how he talks about humanizing because I'm just thinking of an example. We have one client that sometimes he'll ask, and this is something he could ask QuickBooks Live Assisted Bookkeeping. Hey, how do I pull a P&L by class? Or how do I customize a report so I can just see this or that and the other? I am more than happy to have my team help with that kind of thing because that's the human relationship. That's what they're paying for. That's what I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah, those conversations that, where you
Yeah.
you
And
you
I like
read
to
you
be of
read the
help.
tea leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I like to feel useful. I like that clients feel like we're there to help them. And I guess the way I feel is for basic stuff when maybe we're overloaded or whatever, we can refer them to that. I feel like we have our finger on the pulse of everything that's new and coming down the road. So I'm not too worried about it. But I totally get yeah, I totally like that, Sue Jamie, when I get the light bulb moment. Yeah, but I totally get how other folks that maybe are as advanced or maybe they do very standard bookkeeping and they're used to being that source for their client. I can see how they might feel worried. And that's just, unfortunately, it's just part of change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely we are in a season that is changing that thought process, or that this is changing at a more rapid pace than, a lot of people were prepared for, right?
Yeah, and I
Um,
will say I've only been a pro advisor for maybe almost 5 years. I haven't been indoctrinated into the old school. I came in when a lot of this automation and AI was getting going, so it's all I know. With QuickBooks Online, of course,
yeah,
I've used other
yeah.
software.
You're the 10-year-olds of today, right?
Yeah,
That don't know
and
they don't know anything different than a smartphone or a
completely.
tablet.
So,
They don't know
yeah,
what it
a
was
really
like
long
before that.
exactly, and a really long time ago, I worked as a bank teller. They told me straight out, "We don't want anybody that's been a bank teller at other banks, like long-term bank tellers. We want brand new people that have no idea what they're doing." And I was like, "Okay." So they sent me to training and they taught me how to do it. And of course, I picked it up. It's very easy, but they want me doing it their way. That's no other way, their way. And so this is a little bit, I feel like similar to that in that my, my experience is with other desktop softwares. And so I really wasn't using any other kind of cloud. It's not like I was a zero user and then I switched over to QuickBooks Online or anything like that. But I will say, for example, yesterday I was on the Happy Hour and we were talking about AI and really what that means to sometimes clients will ask, a lot of times I'm dealing with onboarding new prospects and that kind of stuff. And they'll ask, what's this AI? Does this mean that machines will do all the work and you're just charging me? And I'll explain, no, all it really does is speed up our process so we can scale. And for example, we use a tool that helps with the month end close and it'll just filter out the stuff I don't need and it'll highlight the things that need to be changed. So we have them right on our dashboard right in front of us. Things like that, where it's
Mhm.
like, or I get a new client, it adds a new field in this one thing. Just little repetitive tasks like that certainly
Right,
doesn't do the accounting for them. And when I
right.
explain that, they're usually like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Yeah, the big thing is that I think right now, I think in general, AI it should be viewed as an intern, right? It's not somebody that's going to talk to clients or do the end thing, but it will allow you as a professional to scale and do a lot more, and so that you do the final draft, right? Like my sister's CPA, she just became a partner in her firm. I'm like, what does that mean? And so I'm no longer preparing the tax return. Okay, what do you do? I review the prepared
Yes.
tax return. So she now goes to the next level and then has that face to
Yes.
face conversation
Yeah, that
her
you still have to
with the
do the
client.
work. Just
Yeah.
the work changes from what you were doing before to something else, and I use AI every single day of my life. You know how I view it? I view it as Dad, I've named my chat GPT Gary. But, so
I'm going to Gary.
I chat with Gary all day. Like I said, I'm getting my master's. I do not. And it's not even because it's an ethics thing. I don't get the answers from Gary, but what I do is I'm like, wait a minute, is this right? And then I'll go to Gary and I'll be like, okay, tell me how I can get present value for, and it'll write out the steps. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did do it that way. Or I'll tell Gary, no, that's not right. You're showing me the wrong way to do it. And then, so then for me, I feel like I've got a friend. I've got a friend right here I'm bouncing ideas off of, and I'll catch errors all the time. For
Does
me, it's
And
a
that friend does not
sometimes
take a break.
yeah,
Does not go on lunch.
he
It does
doesn't
not.
sass me. He doesn't sass me like my kids do. But what I do like it is because I'll say, "Wait, this my textbook is showing me how to do it this way, but I always thought I had to average that out. Let me just check with Gary." So it's not I'm gonna have ChatGPT do all the work for me. I check myself and let me see, okay, there are different ways to skin a cat. Let me see if there's a different way to do it that makes more sense in my head. So that's how I use it.
Yeah, and I think the thing that is ultimately scary about this whole Gary thing is that Gary's not gonna unlearn things. So he is going to only get better. So maybe today he's an intern, but tomorrow he might be an entry level employee. And but he's not going to regress to being an intern. He's going to learn
True, although Gary could
everything.
turn on me.
There's been countless movies that artificial intelligence is a bad idea.
I know, they can start feeling emotions. No, but even still, Dan, Gary gets it wrong all the time. I'm telling you. And I know a lot of people, even Hector, they'll say, yeah, they catch errors and stuff all the time. I don't necessarily see how it can be a bookkeeping employee because I just see nuances all the time that a human has to understand, especially sales tax and things like that. I don't know. I feel like, can Gary do it? If he gets better, like you say, doesn't regress and gets better, maybe to where they can do 60% of it. But we still need a human mind refining everything and dealing with issues. Can they spot and filter out and point out duplication? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody was talking to me the other day and I'm trying to reconcile. I don't understand why this is wrong. Which gave me the screenshot and I'm like, oh, yeah, your ending balance is not what you said it was, right?
Right.
There's your difference of $20 is you typed a 2 instead of a 4 for the ending balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if AI would be able to do that, but that is human error that was easily picked up by another human. I don't know if that's going to be where AI is going to go. And here we are. We haven't talked at all about
Yeah.
what's online mobile app. I guess
We'll have to
do that
talk
next
about
week.
that next time. But you know what I was going to say, Dan, before we go, I was going to say, listen, in a world where I can't even get the self-scanning thing at the grocery store to work right without having to have an employee come over.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like this is all very useful and maybe AI can get close um, but I don't see it completely taking over. I just don't.
Yeah, it's at least maybe not in who knows what tomorrow or the next month or the month after that. Because a lot of times these things are easy to spot. AI images that are totally fake of a guy with 6 fingers, right? Like, once AI learns, oh, all humans have 5 fingers, or at least most normally do have five fingers, unless you're a bad carpenter, then it's going to realize that for the next time, and it will never create an AI generated image of a guy with 6 fingers.
Yeah, and maybe Jamie just said accountants aren't going to go anyway anytime soon. We still need to understand the update to IRS changes. Now meals are 50%, not 100%. Things like that. You still have to have accountants.
Or hunting trips.
You have to still
I can't deduct that.
But maybe it's people with the understanding of accounting rules are monitoring and reviewing, like your sister. We still have to have accountants.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a place for them, and this could certainly help with some of the challenges that the accounting community is facing, the lack of shortage, the 150-hour work week during tax season, and all that stuff. This will help. Technology is going to help with that. But getting back to the QuickBooks Live Assisted, yeah, that could be another tool in your toolbox as an accountant or a small business owner, but it's not going to take the place of humanizing that relationship that is the true value of what accountants and bookkeepers can really do for a small business owner.
Yeah, and small business owners, they just want to feel taken care of. They want to feel that they have somebody on their team that is taking care of them, and then they have this peace of mind. I love being that. And I'll just leave with this one thing, though, is this just dawned on me. The more AI there are, now there's a zillion. And how many apps are in the Shopify App Store? A zillion. You still need a technical advisor to help decide, do I use this or do I use that? What's the best thing to use? So in my opinion, there's always somewhere to go, specialize in to help these clients. And so maybe you're pushed out of one space, but there are other spaces to go into if you're willing to be a little flexible and want to have a great career for yourself. I feel like it's there if you want it.
Yeah. And it's going to be a while until we have HAL 9000 saying, what are you doing, Rachel? This is highly irregular. Yeah.
I know.
Open the pod bay doors.
Did you see Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, blue shirt guy. He had his own emotional thing, right? What do they call it when AI?
Self-aware.
Yeah, they become self-aware. Yeah. Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you've got Workshop Wednesday to keep you company. So next time we'll go through the QBO mobile app, the expense side of things, and we'll continue on with this conversation. And we appreciate you joining us here, and we hope you have a great day.